In this video, I want to show you guys a couple of our favorite plyometric exercises for throwing athletes. As most of you guys watching this video probably already know, plyometric exercises have blown up. They're huge in popularity now. People are throwing medicine balls, they're doing all different types of jumps, and there's many variations of plyometric exercises, but we have to consider that plyometric exercise, to be beneficial for your performance, has to be specific to what you're going to be doing in your sport. So that's much easier for somebody who has a variable sport or a wide receiver, defensive back. They got to be able to run and jump and cut. But for pitching or throwing from a static position, the plyometric exercises you use have to be very specific and tailored to that skill. So that's what we kind of want to go over in this video, is a couple variations of things that you can do that will have more carryover and transfer into your throwing ability, which is ultimately the goal of your training. It's not just to look cool, it's to actually benefit your performance. So we always do our plyometric exercises in combination with different static postural corrections, in combination with different corrective exercises and other dynamic exercises. But you want to make sure that they're specific as possible. So this one is the most obvious, and this is a very good exercise. And the second exercise we'll show you is a little bit different, and there's some points I want to point out with that, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But with this particular exercise, we're going to do a lateral bound, but we want to make it as specific as possible to your throwing motion. And how you do that is you try to sequence your body in the same way and then just superimpose that plyometric explosive power on top of it. The first variation I'll show you is like a baseball pitcher. So I would lift my leg like I'm pitching, load into my hip, push, and I'll stick the landing on that front leg. So my goal with the landing is to stick hard, get my chest forward, just like I would do if I'm actually pitching. So one more time, I'll lift, load into my hip, push, stick it. I'm trying to jump as far as I can, but I'm also trying to stop myself as fast as possible. The same thing would be for anyone that plays a position. I can start without the leg lift, slight bend in my leg, load into it a little bit, boom, push. Trying to stop my forward momentum with my front leg and push as fast and as hard as possible with my back leg, not looking for a high amplitude jump, but more of a horizontal distance. So I'm trying to get as far as possible. I can do the same thing for more of a crouch, and I can pop up, go. So if I'm a catcher, I can do things like that, because if I get more power in that back hip, I'll be able to throw a little bit harder, but I'll also have to work on stabilizing with that front leg. So there's a plyometric variation, and I can actually make this more difficult by starting in somewhat of a preloaded position, not letting myself load at all any farther. So I start in a position like this, don't let myself load, and push. So totally different exercise, but it trains your body to be able to not have to incorporate some long and lengthy load, especially if I have a time demand in my sport. So I'll be here, and I'll push as fast as possible. Now we're going to go into exercise number 2, which is going to be more of a total body exercise, plyometric exercise that will incorporate some more rotational power at the same time. So for one of our other favorite plyometric variations, we're going to do a lateral chop slam. I'm actually using a volleyball because it's a lightweight. It allows me to move at a greater rate of speed, which is my goal with these plyometric exercises, to be able to move faster. I've got a really light ball. If you use a medicine ball, try to go 2 pounds or less, but I really like volleyball, something about 5, 10, 15 ounces at the most. And then I can start in a pre-position with my knee up, arms over here, because I'm trying not to do an extra load as I go forward. So I'm here, I'm going to land, and I'm going to slam, and when I slam, I'm going to try to slam on the outside of my foot, outside of my landing foot. So for a right-handed thrower, I would slam here. If I'm a position player, I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I maybe don't want to start with such a high leg lift. The higher the leg lift, actually the more difficult the exercise, because I have to brace more with my front leg. Let me demonstrate that for you here. I'm Up and across, leg up, I'm gonna land. Slam as hard as I can, and when I slam, I'm going to stiffen up that front leg. I'm trying to go fast, but not do an extra compensatory load in the initiation of the movement, because I want to teach my body to be able to explode on demand without having to do an extra load. Because if I'm fielding the ball from the outfield, or if I'm just caught a ball, or if I'm infielder and I'm throwing over to first, I don't want to have to do a long load to try to be powerful. I want to be able to catch and go. So one more time here, let me demonstrate that again. One of the reasons we really like this variation is because when I throw, I move on a diagonal 45-degree pattern roughly. Some people are more transverse where they're more rotational. Some people are less transverse and they're more sagittal where they're coming up and over a little bit more. And everybody's a little bit unique based on their own body structure and the way they've learned to throw. But I can incorporate the rotational component in the sagittal component. And I'm actually moving in all three planes of motion here. So there's frontal plane motion with a little bit of tilt, there's a sagittal plane motion this way, and then there's a transverse plane motion with rotation, which is what happens when I actually throw. So one more time here. I'm going to start a little higher, demonstrate a little variation. Some people are going to be more rotational and they're going to more skip it. Some people are going to slam it down more. So here, leg up, just like that. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions for us on plyometric exercises or corrective exercises, let us know. We actually have a database full of exercises that we put into programs for people, as well as we have our corrective exercise programs and our phase-specific throwing programs on our website, overheadathletics.com. You can go on there, there's a bunch of free information, blog topics, there's a free rotator cuff strengthening program, which we know is super important for throwing athletes. If you like this video, one more time, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next video.